What is so profound what someone once said, that it stuck with you forever? Not sure who said this to me, but I heard this in my late teens and it completely changed the way I think forever. If you think you know something, find someone who disagrees, and listen to them. It has taken years for that to fully sink in, but it's a never-ending process. The last part, the part about actually listening, is the tricky part, and it took me many years to get it right. But it's the best advice I've ever heard, and it changed my life more than any other single piece of advice. I also think it's the advice that most people on Reddit need in their lives. Early on in our marriage, I was pretty chill about lightheartedly ragging on my husband in the company of others, not about serious or super private things, but just about his quirks and semi-annoying habits. I grew up in a family that teased each other constantly, so this was the norm. Then one day he told me how, although he wasn't personally offended by the light jabs, he thought that it might be a subtle thorn in the side of our marriage, and that being in the habit of tearing the other down in the company of others, even if only lightheartedly, would make it really easy for it to be the behavior we choose when we actually are legitimately angry with each other. It would make it really easy for light jabs to become airing our dirty laundry / slandering the other. We both came from divorced families, and we both entered into marriage agreeing that divorce would never be an option because of how much it screwed us up. So I really took that to heart, and once I became mindful of his thoughts on the matter, I began to see how often I had been doing, based on how often I had to hold my tongue now in conversations with friends. Now it has become a habit, and I actually find it much easier to speak positively about my husband, and I legitimately think it has increased my love and respect for him. He's not perfect, but I'm sure everyone who knows and talks to me think he's a saint because of how positively I speak about him, which I'm a-okay with because he's not far off. Mate, you are 10,000 miles away in Australia. Why waste your time being angry? Just got angry all the time for no reason. One random person sat next to me at a hostel and asked me that question. I got a bit annoyed at first, walked away and thought about it. WTF. I was literally in the one place I had always wanted to go to in my life, yet I was still angry. Thank you, random British mate. You changed my way of looking at things massively. You teach people how to treat you. Once that really sunk in, life changed for the better. It meant cutting a lot of toxic people from my life, including my parents and sibling. But the second half of my life is more productive, peaceful, and prosperous than it was the first 40 years. Eater, thanks for the gold. When I was in college, I was apprehensive about my career, and an older grad student I knew laid this one on me: you'll be fine. Whenever I'm feeling doubt about what I'm pursuing, I just think of all the completely incompetent people who managed to succeed before me. As a math major, someone helped me with a philosophy to keep in mind while working on learning math on my own that I never forgot and has helped me to this day. Don't do the problems until you can get them right. Do them until you can't get them wrong. The difference between solving problems and understanding how to solve problems is one will get you through the exam, the other will get you through life. Would you rather wake up in 20 years wondering what you missed, or wake up in 20 years knowing exactly what you missed? Never had commitment issues after that. When I was in college, a friend of mine told me I was gentle, after being called sensitive all my life up until that point, and not in a good way. Hearing that made me feel a lot better about myself. Sorry for the bad English. There's no point trying to track down your significant other when they go out, or even asking them not to go, just because you're afraid of being cheated on. If they want to cheat on you, they will. They will miss a day of work, or lie about visiting their parents, or even fake a medical appointment. There's nothing you can do about that. The only thing you can do is being a loving, caring person. This is the most effective way of obtaining someone's love and trust. The person that you will spend the most time with in your life is yourself, so try to make yourself as interesting as possible. We judge others by their actions and ourselves on our intentions. Really made me think about people, and I try telling myself that when the in front on me doesn't indicate when merging. I don't remember the quote exactly, but I believe Jake from Adventure Time says something similar to, being bad at something is the first step to being sorta good at something. It made me realize I shouldn't worry too much about being drawing, but that I should keep going, so I'm less at it. Edit. I should mention that I'm just a hobbyist that used to dream of it as a profession. I'm now trying to make amends with my younger self by taking night classes. While it is incredibly discouraging to see so many students younger than me that are much better, I've learned to stop seeing it as a competition and to try to learn from them. I don't even watch Adventure Time, but this quote stuck to me because it's helped me not to be ashamed of being bad at anything, so long as I'm trying my best. How would it make you feel? It's the sentence that changed my stance on gay marriage. Without context, that seems silly, but I'll offer up a shorthand version. I grew up in suburban STL to conservative Christian parents, and they weren't remotely tolerant, and pretty much never left my comfort bubble. I moved to Kansas City when I was 20 to finish college. My roommate was good friends with a gay couple, and this was my first encounter with gay people that I knew of, which was ignorant. There's no way it was my first. Inevitably, we got into a debate, and they basically went into a tirade about how much it sucks to constantly be berated and made fun of, and how it sucks to be treated unfairly because of something they can't control. I reverted to the classic "it's a choice" line of thinking. They responded with, why would we choose this for ourselves? Why would we choose to constantly be made fun of, to constantly be judged, and constantly be denied rights? How would it make you feel? It was pretty much that exact moment when I, who I considered to be a logical person, realized I was being an illogical asshole, and that I was just regurgitating the I picked up from being raised in a conservative Christian household. From that moment on, I started doing all of the programming in my mind from years of living in a sheltered environment. My views have since changed on nearly everything, from gay marriage to abortion to religion. One sentence from one conversation with two gay men changed me in a huge number of ways, and now I scoff at the idea that you can't change someone's mind about these things. Just because it doesn't get better today or tomorrow doesn't mean it'll never get better, so just hold out for the day when it does. My significant other in the beginning of our relationship, when I had a lot of pain to deal with and was ready to give up, changed my whole outlook on life. When I was young, and having what I thought was a serious relationship talk with my first real I told her that I just wanted to find the right person. Without missing a beat, she said, everybody is looking for the right person, and nobody is trying to be the right person. That stopped me in my tracks. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Sorry about my very late responses. I only recently realized that I was getting messages asking for follow-up. I don't recall how the rest of the conversation went very well. I think it kind of shut me down, and I didn't really know how to respond. We ended up breaking up for typical first-time significant other reasons. What she said totally made me rethink how to approach love, though. Before then, I had this idea that I should be spending my life looking for my perfect match. Since then, I decided that I would just focus on being the best person I could be, and figured someone would eventually find me. My dad once gave me and my brother each $1 out of nowhere. I scoffed and said, "Dad, it's just $1, you keep it." He got really mad and said, never try to give anything back that someone gives you. It could be all they have to give, and a huge sacrifice to them. I felt like such a dick, and I could really use that dollar right now. My dad was/is a deacon of a church, and one part of his duties was to visit with people in retirement homes and bring them communion. He couldn't go one day, and he asked me, I was in high school at the time, to go in his place. Perhaps obviously, with me being young and the people in the homes being elderly, age was a frequent topic of conversation. One old man told me, the hardest thing about getting old is running out of people who understand you. That is, each generation has a unique way of looking at the world and what it means to be alive in it, and as new generations come and redefine what the world is, one's world gets smaller and smaller as there are fewer people around who understand your world in the same way. We are all marching toward obsolescence. I think I became much more of a realist that day. Put your mind where your body is. My godmother's lesson. I know it seems simple, but I find that it can be so hard to stay present in the world we live in. This is the most direct and to the point explanation of mindfulness I've ever heard, and it has really stuck with me. She passed away about a month ago, and I miss her and her wisdom terribly, but I can still hear her reminding me when I start to forget.